Yeah, hi, I'm Amy Bateman. I'm a photographer based in Cumbria. I do lots of commercial photography now, mainly people, places and products. I started photography only 5 years ago. I was at home with the children on our farm. I'd given up my job as a physiotherapist and I went to an evening class because my husband knew I was getting fidgety and wanting to do more. So I went to evening class and just got utterly obsessed with this little black box and just loved it and just lapped everything up, YouTube videos and magazines and whatnot, and got really competitive because I'm very competitive, and started entering the weeklies. Wex Mondays is one of those. I would say that I'm the photographer I am today because of entering the competitions. I suddenly had a whole world of fabulous images. And of course, the nice thing about the weeklies is that because pros can't dip into the bags of previous award-winning images, because it's got to be taken in the last week, I found it really quite inspiring because people were just going out and taking images like this everywhere. And so I started doing the same, started entering, won quite a few bits straight off, won one of your competitors Photographer of the Year, and then went on to win British Life Photographer of the Year in 2019 at the end of. And that helped launch me as a commercial photographer. I'd already been asked to do some pictures for friends, for products and things like that. And I wanted to find my niche. And in fact, I could do a talk completely on how to find your niche in photography, because I was looking in the newspapers and the magazine articles that we get around here and thinking, I could do better photographs than that. How can I do this? Everybody's always said that it's really hard work to be a professional photographer. It's hard to make a living. And of course, that was red rag to a bull to me. I'm so competitive and I thought, I can do this. I'm going to do this. I really enjoyed working with my camera. I love creating images. I like creating storytelling images. So I'm really getting annoyed by that fly at the moment. Have you recorded all that?
Yes.
So I remember going to the evening classes and the tutor was just superb. We just clicked as a class, and I remember him saying it is really quite hard to make a living as a photographer. And I hadn't trained, I hadn't been to college, I didn't study photography. I'd just done the evening classes, the adult education evening classes. But I was looking in the newspapers and the magazines around and thinking, I could do better than this. How do I do it? So I just went out there and I said to a couple of estate agents, I could photograph your houses. I could do them better than you've got at the moment. Give me a chance, see what you think. I'll do the first one for free, see what you think. I got a couple of gigs that way, and now I photograph some beautiful houses. And so every step of the way, as I approached a new sort of discipline and a new sort of genre of photography, I just did what was needed to learn how to do it, learn how to use my camera, learn what lenses were needed, how to look at the light, in order to make some money out of photography. So now I'm just a commercial photographer. I'm turning down work because I'm working on a book, which is nice. So I have a book coming out next year in September called 40 Farms, and it's conversations of change across Cumbria's working landscape. So photographic book, beautiful, about the countryside, telling the real stories about the countryside and the people who live there and work there. And we're going to have an exhibition, so hopefully lots of people will come and look at the exhibition, but we'll travel around the country with it. So that's demanding a lot of my time at the moment. And as much as my work on social media is not necessarily reflective of the work I get paid to do. So my people, product and places which I get paid to do, I don't always put online because they're not my images to share. So people see me online really for my Lakeland life sort of images, and particularly the rural and the countryside work, which I love doing. And hopefully we'll capture some of those as we go around today.
If you had to give someone a tip on how to find their niche in photography, if they were struggling to find that, what would you say?
Stick to what you know, stick to what you're good at, and it should pretty much come from there. I started off just literally taking pictures around the farm because that's what I wanted. That's what I had at my doorstep. That's where my training ground, and I got good at that because I'd do it again and again. And it's what I'm familiar with, so I was comfortable with it. And when you're comfortable with something, you're confident at something. And I wasn't afraid to show my images either, and I wasn't afraid to approach people. And I think finding your niche, particularly in modern standards when there are so many people with good cameras, is really hard. But then there's nothing to stop you creating your own niche, because somebody asked me what sort of genre of photography I do, and it's really hard to describe. because there isn't a known genre that is Lakeland life, but it's what I photograph. It's a mix. I'm not a landscape photographer. I call myself an accidental landscape photographer. I have children, so I can't get up for sunrises. I can't be bothered. I like my bed too much. I don't get a chance to go and do the sunsets for the same reasons. And so I get to just go out during the day, but I have my camera with me all the time. And I think that's crucial as well. I kick myself if I see a photograph and I can't take it because I haven't got my camera with me. Sometimes I haven't got the right lens, but you can normally dodge it one way or another. But as far as finding your niche, if you have something that you really like photographing, just focus on that, because the more you enjoy it, the less it feels like work.
Yeah, nice. So how do you find the balance between being at a working farm, running a working farm, and being a photographer, obviously going from success to success, things are getting busier and busier for you. Do you find that balance hard to strike, or is there something that takes priority for you?
It is a really hard balance because I have a young family. So I have 3 children, twins that are 10 and an 8-year-old. And obviously my husband has become less reliant on me. I was helping on the farm, so we've just had to buy in help. So we now have somebody that helps him on the farm. I buy in little bits of childcare, but my priority is still my children. I will put them first. But quite nicely, some of the jobs and the things that I've been asked to photograph have actually involved them. So I had a great job for the Warm Welly Company, and they needed my children, so they were my models. So we got free wellies, which is very useful on a farm. I have children. They are biggest part of my life, and photography has to come second to that.
Do you have any photographic inspirations? Is there anybody you really look up to, whether that be past sort of more well-known photographers or people who are currently just moving through the industry?
Yeah, there's a really interesting agricultural photographer called Amy Bateman. He did a whole series of coffee table books that were actually views from the air, and that's what most people know him for. But he did one called Good Breeding, which is a book, and some of his lighting of these animals. He went to Paris agricultural shows and set up studio lights and this whole really beautiful, authentic sort of rustic background, and would photograph these prize-winning animals and their owners. But nobody smiled in them, and so it was more about the relationship between the animal and the owner, and they are really inspiring. So I do a lot of I've just done, in fact I can show you this while we're talking about it, I've shot the world champion Herdwick for Wolves of Cumbria carpets, and I had to set up a studio in this barn with the sheep, and we brought the sheep in. We had to clean the sheep's feet because it was walking across the carpet. So it was really challenging because we had to set up the lights for the animal, but also to give the true colour tones for the carpet, because that was the reason we were photographing it. And this sheep was just amazing, pottering around, but I used Amy Bateman as the inspiration for that.
Obviously, you have been a very active member of weekly competitions. Obviously, WexMeets being the best, but you've been an active member of a lot of those competitions, and there is a really strong community in the UK. Do you find that community is helpful for sort of pushing forward with learning new styles of photography as well? Oh,
definitely. The community on Twitter's opened me up to a whole range of different styles and people behind the lenses. And I've got some really good friends now after being on social media and being in the community there. And I regularly go out shooting with Andrew Jones. He was commended in El Potti. Carmen Norman, she's become a friend, and in fact she's even shot my kids because she wanted some kids as models, so I'm quite useful for my camera as well as my kids. Yeah. And the whole sense of community actually really helps, because of course I live on a farm, I'm very rural, and I could be away from everyone. And I use social media to share my images, but I don't shoot for social media. But that validation that you get when the likes go up, you can't deny that that's not a nice feeling. Everybody likes that. And people who say that they don't do it for that, that's not me. I love it when my pictures go down a storm on social media, but I'm not shooting for social media, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It's addictive.
It is. Well, it is, but also I've learned very, very quickly to have a thick skin. I ignore trolls totally. If anybody goes off on one, because being on a farm, we get the vegan activists, environmentalists, and we are doing the best we can here. And so I just learnt to block and try not to let comments bother you. And even when your pictures bomb and you enter competitions and they don't do well and one thing or another, I just think, oh well, there's always another one. And you pick yourself up and you go, you know, and you just try harder, try better, get better, be better, take better pictures, you know, and you can't please everybody all the time.
No.
Just I want to please most people most of the time.
Yeah. Okay, so what's your favourite photograph that you've taken?
Oh, I think everybody would probably expect me to say the British Life Photographer of the Year photograph, because of course how well it did. And I took that to capture a moment. I never took it to enter a competition, although once I started editing and I liked it and I loved, it's got very, very high dynamic range. So there's a massive difference between the lights and the darks, and I do like it. But I think, to be perfectly honest, my favourite picture that I've ever taken is a picture of my 3 girls when they were younger in a wood, throwing up leaves in the air. I'd only just got into photography, and I remember editing the leaves and realising how lovely it was to be able to bring the leaves out and make them even stronger. And I had the kids' faces, and it's just their childhood.
Do you find that, obviously you use social media a lot of your work is online, you know, a lot of people know you because of that. Although you say you've got, you know, very thick skin and things like that, do you ever find, also being a woman farmer as well as doing the photography, do you find that can sometimes have a negative effect on social media and things like that? Do you come into contact with that a lot, or are you quite...
I did, and I find the whole gender thing, both across farming and photography, needed to change. I remember when I first became a farmer's wife, I loved it. I thought, oh, this is great, it's a new role, I'm a farmer's wife, and you know. But actually then the connotations of being a farmer's wife, you know, you stay at home, chained to the kitchen sink, making food for all the men that are coming and working, and doing the farm accounts and stuff like that, and I don't do any of that. I've changed the way our farm responds to the females here.
Are there any other avenues of photography that you don't currently dabble in that you would like to, given the chance to?
Yes, and I have some plans for next year. I have some little things up my sleeve with my new studio, so I've been very fortunate with being able to build a studio at the 2 stables where I took my British Life Award picture. And I'm going to be hosting a whole load of events, and I've got some ideas for making more money as a photographer for next year, and having a bit of a unique selling point and doing things a bit differently. I've always liked to do things a bit differently, but I don't think I can tell you about them just now. You might have to wait and see.
See, this is a great time, viewers, for you to subscribe to the channel, you see, to see what the upcoming secrets are.
So if you come back next year, you'll be able to see. But at the minute I'm concentrating on doing my farm photography tours. We've got accommodation now on site with 2 glamping pods, and they've got photography guides in them, so people can actually come and go on the walks around our farm that are on footpaths, and people can go and see the locations where I've taken photographs and take their own version. People seem to like copying other people's photographs. I don't, but I know lots of people do, so that's fine, they can go and do that. And it's just been really nice to be able to open the farm up to other people who want to come and take the sort of photographs that I do. I'm taking a lot of pleasure in that. We're also the only farm in the country that does farm photography tours. So if you want to get up close and personal and photograph Herdwick sheep, we're the place to do it. I can show you how to do it. And yeah, there's nowhere else where you can safely go and photograph bulls with rings in the noses, the landscape, the tractors. We get studio lights on them and get the sort of photos that win competitions.
So what kit do you have in your everyday kit bag?
I love my Sony kit. It was a challenging transition. I transitioned from Nikon after winning British Life Photographer of the Year. So I was already set up with a full commercial kit bag, and the guys from Sony were really helpful, and my prize was a Sony camera, so I tried it. And yeah, so I've moved over completely to Sony. I love the Sony cameras because they've got the animal eye autofocus, and they were from some of the early pioneers. It's really helped with my animal photography because I just get that eye in focus every single time, and it switches, so whichever way you're looking at the camera, it'll always get the closest one. So the kids' portraits, the animals, they're just bang on every time. So that's really helped. So I've got 2 cameras. I've got the A7R3, which is my main camera. I use that for most of my stuff, 42 megapixels, love it. You can crop in if you haven't quite got the longest reach lens on. It's a very, very capable camera, great dynamic range because I'm out and about, and it can be quite bright or I can do quite dark corners, so its sensor's very capable. And of course my old Nikon had a Sony sensor in it anyway, so I've learnt, and had to drop that one in there. My backup camera is the A7 III. Use that a lot with property photography because building up 5 images in HDR, my workflow is a lot faster because it's a smaller sensor size, smaller megapixels, and that's really good in low light. I use that for videos now. I'm doing a bit of video in, and then I'm slowly getting around to getting the G Master lenses. I've got the 70-200, which is superb for farm animals because if you have a longer lens on, you don't have to go into the field. Obviously I can go into my fields, you can't trespass in other people's fields. You're meant to stay at the gate or stay on the footpaths. But with the 70-200, you can actually get quite close and get some really nice animal portraits without actually having to get too close to them. And even though farm animals are domesticated, they still will be disturbed by your presence and they will shoot off to the other side of the field when you don't want to, and having a longer lens helps so you don't disturb their behaviour.
If you could, for a day, use any kit from any time, what would you choose to use?
Oh, that's a great question. Oh, can I think about this? I think what I'd really, really like to do, I'd like to do my style of photography. So because I love it. I love being here and I love photographing farms. But I'd like to see what it would be like shooting with a Hasselblad and a Leica. I'm just really intrigued whether the price tag matches the quality. Whether the functionality is that much better, whether it's really worth justifying that amount on equipment, whether my pictures would be any better, because I am a strong believer in the fact that the best camera is the one that you have with you. But when it comes to it, at the end of the day, somebody with an iPhone 6 is not going to take the photos I can on my Sony. No. But when you look at the range of Sony, Nikon, Canon, Fuji, Olympus, sorry if I've missed anybody out, they're all very, very capable, and in the right hands, it's the photographer that takes the image. So I'd be very intrigued. That would be really interesting if you took a Hasselblad or a Leica and gave it to a pro photographer who's known for a certain style and seeing if they can take anything better. Yeah. I think that would be really interesting next. I'd love to be part of that. I'm up for that.
Okay, all right, done. We'll do that. Okay, and then my last question.
Amy, that was a brilliant question. Love that.
So it's a similar question. So if you weren't allowed to shoot what you shoot right now for a day, but you had unlimited funds, unlimited travel, all the babysitting you could possibly need, what shoot would you do? What shoot would you just love to be a part of?
Do you know, there's so many. I would love to be in a helicopter in Iceland with a massive big lens. I'd love to do that. I'd love to feel safe to be in London through the night and do some street photography. I'd love to do that. I would really love to do a book on the gathers of the world. So sheep gathers, cow gathers, cattle gathers, those sort of driven cattle, and especially with the nomads in really far away places. I'd love to go and spend time with them and photograph their ways of life. I think it's people and places that really interest me.
Well, thank you for meeting with us today. This interview is just a small part of what we're doing today. We're going to go off and film an event masterclass with you now. So make sure to check that out. But thanks for joining us. It's been super interesting.
Cool. Thank you.